So here's why I think this be more in your feminine is being weaponized against women in spiritual communities. So I just had lunch with a friend. She told me a story that she was at a networking event and she met this guy. They exchanged numbers and he wanted to set up a call. She just thought it was a friendly chat. It turned out to be a pitch. So he started to pitch his services to her by saying, I've looked at your website, I've read your newsletter, I've looked at your socials, and here's what you need. You need to be in your feminine more. You are too in your masculine. You need to learn how to be actively passive. And then when she said no to him, very politely, maybe too politely in my opinion, he was shocked. He said, well, this isn't the reaction I normally get. Translation, this shit normally works for me. Of course it does, because you're using shame as a sales strategy. You're too masculine, you're not feminine enough. Is this not the same bullshit we've been hearing for centuries? When I was in New Age spirituality, all I would hear was you have to be more in your feminine. And all I saw was women who were in their feminine being actively passive, not calling out the harm and abuse that was rife in spiritual spaces, not really standing against anything, making themselves smaller, making themselves childlike with these soft voices. I've always had an issue with the term divine feminine because this is all that I would see. Divine feminine is not that far away from the historically conditioned version of the feminine. Divine feminine is asking women to be one version of themselves, the spiritually acceptable version of themselves. I saw women who were homogenizing into this one version of this thing. If they tried to speak up, if they tried to have a bold opinion, if they tried to question the teacher, they were always told the same thing. You are in your masculine. You need to learn to be in your feminine. The women who are awake right now are defiant. They are not divine. Defiant feminine see the world through truth. They're not burying their heads in the sand. They're actually aware of what's going on and having an appropriate response, which is anger, which is disgust, which is outrage. I spent 7 years in New Age spirituality, seeing this shit play out in real time, seeing the women who were disruptive, the women who stood for something, the women who stood against something, be subtly ostracized and exiled from these communities by the inner circle who all claimed to be in their divine feminine. All the while, they were taking advantage of vulnerable people and they were running on a hierarchy. So if that's what divine feminine is, then quite frankly, you can keep it.